I'm recording now. So we take all those things into consideration as we do those things. So it's not just about the health of every person, but we want to follow the proper guidelines so that we're allowed to stay open. If we aren't following certain guidelines, I don't know what repercussions are, or we don't know what repercussions are. But we want to make sure that we're following the guidelines that are set forth for us so we can stay open, so we can support our members and the families that are impacted and supported by FitELITE. So we don't think it's right to risk that with shortcuts or non-observance of the rules that are laid out. And I hope you guys understand that it's for the safety of you guys and for the well-being of our business that allows us to do everything for every person that's on this call and those people that are not on the call. So what's this mean for an open date? And we wish we could say, hey, it's on like this date. But it appears that we may begin to be open in that phase 1 portion, and we'll get clarity on that, which would be after that May 26th. As it looks right now, with the guidance we have, it would be a maximum of 10 people, including the coach, on the gym floor. Of course, we'll have to see, what that means, how that's laid out. Let's see, if we have personal training clients, we're really working hard to not have an overlap there. So there's not an overlap of training clients and classes. So we can create as much opportunity for each groups of people to work on their fitness and improve their fitness and lifestyle without having to take it away from each other. So we're working our best to make sure those don't overlap, especially in that tight window when we can only have, if it's 10 people that we can only have in the facility at a time. So with all of that, we are putting in protocols in place for before, during, and after class. You could probably imagine there's a lot of cleaning that needs to be done on a regular basis. There's a lot of stuff that gets touched, a lot of fluids that go everywhere, a lot of heavy breathing. And from what we know, taking care of that and cleaning that up is a big priority. And, from 100% transparency, one of the biggest factors to our open date is the availability of cleaning supplies for us. We will tell you right now that we feel that is just like when you have a business, you should have a certain amount of working capital on hand. So if things happen, Laura knows when you get a mortgage, you should have a certain amount of reserves so that when something happens, you're able to make that payment. We need to have a certain amount of reserves of cleaning supplies so that if there is a long shortage, that we have a buffer in there. We believe we need to have 2 to 3 months of cleaning supplies on hand to be able to open. Because what happens if we only have enough to open and then we can't get it again? What do we do then? And so that's a serious issue, and we are working really hard to procure as many cleaning supplies as we can to make sure that we can have a safe, clean environment. So we will have protocols in place for before class, during class, and after class. And those will be communicated before we are actually open, and those will also be communicated clearly within the facility through signage and regular communication. And it's keep in mind that we're doing it all. We'd rather be overly cautious on this than under cautious, and it's because we care about everybody that walks inside those doors. Let's see here. Will we continue to offer what we're offering now, as long as we're able to? So let's say we are able to open. We have 10 people that can make a class, and maybe maybe you don't feel comfortable coming to class. You'll still have all the resources that we're offering now with videos, etc. So if you're not comfortable coming to class, when we're ready to open, there will still be the connection and the availability to get the workouts, have the community feel through SugarWOD, and the videos that we're hosting. That includes, I guess, all the resources we've been putting out, the accountability, the coaching, all those things. So our goal is within the next week to get out our phase opening plan based on the guidelines that we're given. And this will offer guidance and expectations for everyone as we're able to open in each phase. So please watch for that communication. As soon as we have more that we know of, we will get it to you. And our goal is to be as open with communication as possible. Let's see here. When we open, there'll probably be a few adjustments that we need to do. Class times might shift slightly, not drastically, but slightly. The purpose of that is to allow enough passing time. So if we have a 10-person maximum, let's say we probably need to allow close to 30 minutes of transference time, not just in people transferring, but proper cleaning. We need to make sure that as members, or if one of us coaches are in class and we're working out, the simple spray and wipe down of a bar won't be sufficient. We need to really get after it, and then the coaches will be following up after classes to really work to make sure that we have a very clean facility afterwards for the next people coming in, touching all the equipment. There will probably be laid out workout areas, and so we're working on a grid of like, what's that look like, because we need to maintain our spaces within the facility. And so we're working on what that layout looks like to maximize the square footage. And so if it's 10 at first, what's the maximum capacity we can get to, still observing any guidelines that are out there. So that is stuff that we'll be working to lay out and get to everybody. There may be things such as taking your temperature when you come in, washing your hands when you get there, washing your hands when you leave. What else? Checking in. You'll need to reserve your classes, but we probably won't have you checking at the kiosk. When we take your score, Laura never did anyway, so she's not too worried about that. But when we take your score, that's when we'll be able to check you into class. We'll still be using sugar wads, so sugar wads is a little bit different in the display, but it's gonna be great on the TV in the gym. So we'll use sugar wad for displaying the workouts, and we'll have the face card showing who's in class. So that should work pretty seamlessly when we are able to open back up that way. Chalk buckets will probably not be a thing for a while. And what's that mean? We'll be looking at either sources for individual chalk bags and or liquid chalk. That is your personal liquid chalk, and we're looking to have some in stock, so that if it's just from a convenience standpoint, if that's something that if you choose liquid chalk or chalk bags, we're just trying to find some that are economical and do the job. That's your own chalk bag. Again, it's just putting hands into shared chalk. That is, again, probably not best practice right now, and maybe never again, but maybe that comes back and it's not a big deal down the road. But for temporarily, those chalk buckets will go away. Let's see here. Our goal is to minimize the expense of all those and then offer convenience to everyone with that as well. And so these are just a few of the things that we're planning for and making considerations for. And then as it's finalized and as we have all these guidelines, we will lay out information. And you know what, guys, there's not been a playbook on how to reopen after something like this. And so we're going to do our best to communicate. And if there's questions you have, ask us. Like I know I speak for Dave, and he'll nod his head. I'm sure that we're open. We're like, if you have questions or there's concerns that pop up, we want to hear them. And if it's something that you're concerned about, a question you have, you're probably not the only person that has that question or concern. So please come to us or your coach and ask the question. And if they don't know the answer, they'll point you to us or come to us and ask, and we'll work really hard to, at the end of the day, we want to create a great experience for everybody. And we don't want to open to a poor experience, a place that's not fun and inviting, and effective and beneficial for each person that walks in the door and helping you get your results. So we will have that outline for everybody as we finalize it here in the next week or so and ongoing. So until we're able to reopen, we're looking at adding a few more to our offerings. Starting next week, we're going to look at least some Zoom classes. I don't know what volume, and that's what we're working on, the coaching and the timing and that sort of thing. It's one of the reasons I asked the question in the community page is, what time do you normally work out? We probably won't be doing all classes throughout the day. Part of it is like, what's attendance look like? There's a lot of time and resources that are going to go into creating a quality experience from that in a Zoom experience. And so, if it's something that you are interested in, we're going to try to communicate as much as possible. If you can attend, please attend. If there's a time that you want to see it, on that poll, post it out there so I have an idea. We have a good idea of what times are popular. But we will be doing a couple, I would say, Zoom classes next week. I've been playing with some things, and Dave will be happy to hear I figured a lot of stuff out this afternoon after our call. So we're working on offering something like that. And then once we do the live Zoom class, it'll be recorded just like this is. And it will be shared then to the group. So if you're coming in, let's say you can't make it, let's say we have the class at 5:30 a.m. But you're not working out till 4 p.m., you can still jump in like you're in the class being coached by the coach. Zoom is an option that we're going to use, and we're setting up a display so that if I'm coaching the class, I can see you and I can be like, I can, hey, Hannah, not quite so deep in that squat, you're going to butt wink or whatever it is. Hey, lock those elbows out, head through the window. But we can coach you as we're going along through the workout. We'll have two coaches there. One of the coaches really helping to facilitate the technology side of things, and one of the coaches in front of the camera coaching you guys as much as they can. Let's see here. Working on those class times, and we should have at least a couple times over the weekend here that we have finalized. And then let's see, I said we'll work on releasing an initial schedule probably in the newsletter on Sunday, and then just as we know it, we'll get out on Facebook and emails and text messages, and SugarWOD, we'll put a link to the class in there. So again, we want to be communicating with you guys as much as we can, and it's important for you guys to understand that what we're doing and why we're doing it, like our reasons behind it. We want to be open as much as we can, and we want the facility to be open as much as you guys do. Like, we miss you guys, and we miss doing. We're still coaching. It's just different, right? Like, we just miss the personal contact with everybody. So we want to be there as much as you guys do, and we want to make sure that we can offer the very best experience, like I said before, to everybody, every member, every client, and every coach that goes in, because that experience is important. So again, on behalf of Dave and the team, Dave may have something to chime in here, but thank you guys for your support, your confidence, your trust, your patience, and that kind of as we work this all together as a family and figure out how to navigate this stuff. So Dave, do you have anything else to add before we kind of open up and look at questions?
I think obviously you said it. You said it obviously really, really well. I'm just answering the group chat right now.
Yeah.
As people are dropping in questions, I'm just trying to answer them as they come in. So for those that are in the chat or actually have it up, you can go and hit that chat button at the bottom if you want to see what questions are being asked. I'm trying to answer them as fast as I can. Or now, Shane, you and I can just read through them and start answering them. Mm-hmm. As they come in.
Yep. So looking at the as far as live streaming classes, so in the chat, someone asked, Emily asked, yeah, would we consider live streaming classes for those who aren't coming in or are at home doing workout with everybody else? I wouldn't say no. I think we have to look at what that experience looks like. I think that it would for sure have to be and this is what to talk about. It would for sure have to be a 2-coach scenario, because let's say Pat's coaching at 5 a.m. It's really hard to coach the 10 people on the floor and let's say 6 people on Zoom on a monitor. So I think that would have to, if we talk this out, it has to make sense, but it would be, it'd have to be another coach kind of standing here. You could watch everything Pat's doing, but another coach standing this side of it, coaching you as you're going through the movements is the only way I can see that happening. I guess that's something we'd have to talk about and see if that makes sense. But yeah, we'd love to have everybody together as much as we can.
Yeah, I don't even know from a mechanic standpoint if it's like he has an earbud in. I don't know how that would all work. Like that you could live stream and still obviously hear the coach talking about like cues and all that in terms of that.
Yeah.
The scope of the whole platform.
Or the mic them up. Like NFL.
Up. Yeah.
Yeah. You get to hear all the little side conversations that Pat has with people. Everybody gets to hear them now. Lucas asked, if there are restrictions on class size, say 10 people per class, will there be more classes added the day, like during the day, in the morning, afternoon, night, that are not currently class times? That's something we talked about, and potentially. If we look at passing times, yeah, potentially. We have to look to see if people are able to attend, let's say a 10 o'clock. We'll have those 3 in the morning. We'll have our 9:30 still. We'll still have our 11 o'clock. I don't know. We'll see about the 12:30. We'll still have a 4, 5, 6. So the question is, like, do we need to add a 7? Do we need to add some earlier? And we don't know how long that phase actually lasts, because there's no like real, like, this is a 2-week phase. So it's potentially that's something that we'll have to, a lot of it will come down to like demand for classes. So if there's like, hey, there's a bunch of people that could come at 10 o'clock instead of the 11 or instead of 8 or whatever that is, or like 3 o'clock or 7 o'clock, we'll need to talk about that and get that figured out. So it's not a no, it's a, oh, Dave already responded right in the chat to Emily. There we go. Taylor
And
Guanic.
I put Lucas's right below too.
What's
Yeah,
that?
Taylor. No, I just responded to Lucas. I was trying to respond while you were talking to some of those questions.
Gotcha. I'm glad we said the same thing.
Great minds think alike.
Yeah,
I know everything's a potential. We're just because we're looking into so much right now.
Yeah.
And we want to create the best experience.
Yeah. So Taylor made a point about some outside workouts to avoid close contact. When we reopen the rink, is doing off ice and dry land outside to avoid close contact. Yeah. So that's stuff we looked at. The question becomes, okay, hey, we got classes every day at this time at this place, and then it's a rainstorm, and it's just something that might happen, and you just have to be really good communication and stuff. The Migos are playing on the TV behind me because Cam's playing some game on the Xbox. Now I can hear the Migos in the background.
And another thing is, like if we can go to a school or a track, or if it's open,
park.
Everything's got to be opened up too at that point too, which
Yeah,
I hope it will be because it's outside.
Yeah, right. And I'd love to say the parking lot, but as Heather knows, next door to Oak Cliff Realty, they're busy. They got people. The massage place is open. We may not have a lot of like driveway space available for stuff like that if we said let's do the driveway or the parking lot. I mean, so again, that is potential to look at, and it's stuff that we've talked about and are considering, and we'll look at how that makes sense and how we can make it work. Our answer is never no. It's always how can we make it happen, and if it makes sense. So know that we will be digging into everything and see if we can make things work and make sense. Will the 10-person limit be lifted when allowed? Meaning if they say, hey, you can go to 50 people, will we, Marie asked that, will we lift the 10-person limit? Yeah, as long as we, like, from a spacing standpoint, if whatever the spacing requirements are, we're trying to maximize the square footage inside the gym. And so if we can have more than 10 people and we're allowed to do so, I think we would open it up to more than 10 people. We would go to the maximum that we're allowed to with the space that we have. Yep. You agree, Dave?
Yes.
Yep.
I'm reading on. You got some of these individuals are just awesome with their writing.
Yeah.
These questions.
Let's see here, Taylor, and then they have a bigger space. So yeah, the thing is, like, there's not. I don't know where Taylor. You can maybe point me in the direction of where you're finding like the square footage regulation. I have not seen a square footage thing laid out anywhere, and I've been digging. So if you could send that to me, I'd love to look at it. We gotta really look at how much the footprint of each person takes up inside the facility, and then still have good effective workouts, and get a good energy and number of people into class that want to be there. So there's a lot of things that it's an equation that we have to go through as we're looking to reopen. Julia, we miss you as well. We do miss you as well. Yeah. Denton, I know gyms in Arkansas opened earlier this week. Have you guys reached out to any of those gyms? I did not know they opened. I know gyms in Georgia opened. The interesting thing in Georgia when gyms opened is it said gyms could open with no group classes. So I don't know exactly how like gyms like ours were opening, but they did. So there are a couple of different organizations that we follow and communicate with that work with gyms in every state. And so the great thing about that, like gyms like Georgia, Arkansas, international gyms that have opened, is we get to see what they did and what they didn't do and learn from that. So as gyms in Europe are opening, or even gyms in Asia are reopening, we get to see things that worked and haven't worked and understand best practices. So that is a benefit, and we will continue to reach out and learn from more gyms there. Can Jeremy come back? I wish Jeremy never was moving to Green Bay. We would love to have Jeremy. We would love him to have him there. Taylor, I'll get it from the rink and send it. Thank you, Taylor. Any plans for Murph? Murph's out forever. No, I'm just kidding. Yes, we have talked about Murph and what that looks like. Obviously, if the If we're not allowed to open until the 26th, that is after Memorial Day weekend, we have talked about a rescheduled date to be able to do that with, whether it's in heats, waves of a certain number of people at a time. But yes, there will be a Murph style thing happening. Those details will come out based on what we know with the opening dates. I hope that helps. Will there be different exits and entrances? That's a great question. What we're doing instead is increasing the passing time. So we don't necessarily have a different exit, Sherry. We don't have necessarily a different exit and entrance. We have a different passing time. So so that hopefully people coming and going will not be passing each other at the same time. Murph Miss in July. I like it. It's something we talked about. 4th of July, something like that. If people are around. If that it has been a thought as well. I told Brooke that, she's like, you know what? Maybe by July things will open up and people just want to get the heck out of here. I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns. The biggest thing, we're doing a lot of research on, if let's see here. We just need to buy up the old Kmart. Yeah, didn't Hy-Vee buy the old Kmart? Wouldn't that be great? And we have all the space and just have all the people.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I know. I see these things come up all the time. Like, man, imagine let's go to, you know what we need? We need the old Mega on Hastings.
Yeah, on
I
Hastings.
think it's monstrous. We could all do it. We'd all have like 1,000 square feet each. It'd be perfect. You could do anything in there. You could even run your 200s in there. You'd never go outside. Imagine that. July sounds horribly warm. Toughen up, Courtney. We'll have water. We'll have water for you.
We'll just make it sure, Courtney, we'll have it at like noon or 1. It'll be perfect time.
Yeah, and full transparency, the one of the the biggest, I would say, obstacle right now, guys, is us finding the proper cleaning supplies. Mm-hmm. And so what we need to do, and there are certain things that are the CDC and other organizations have put out as like, I don't know if approved is the right word, but kind of like cleared for COVID-19 and things like that. So Kelsey, it's hand wipes. It is enough cleaning solution for like spray bottles, etc. That we are not able to find in a lot of places. So now I've started reaching out to hospitals and clinics to find out what they're using and see if I can order from their suppliers, or we can order from their suppliers. So I reached David and all that, but I just did it right before I worked out. Got a hold of some people I know to see okay, who are the suppliers? What are you using? Because I think that's probably the best. Yeah, if you could, Julia, I'd love that. Thank you. Maria, I can connect you with my sources. My work has been open. Okay, sweet. Yeah. Send me what you got. Shane at FitEliteOnline.com. What I've run into on the stuff that I've been trying to order is it's out of stock when I've been trying to get it. So wherever the sources that vodka, did someone say vodka? Oh, vodka place, it does it too. Okay, got it. Okay, I get it now. In 30 seconds. Yeah, I'll take it. Hook me up, Julia. Give me the number. We need 3 months worth. So yeah, so we'll get that, and that eliminates a giant burden from us. So we would appreciate that. What other questions do you guys have there in the chat? Can people shower there, or would they be that part be off limits? It's a great question. I don't know that showering is going to be any different than using the bathroom. We'd allow you to use the bathroom. That being said, we are going to have to clean the bathrooms very frequently, like between every class, us going in there and cleaning the bathrooms. This is, above and beyond opening for classes and coaching. There is, the CDC frowns upon showering together, Lucas. Grain alcohol, never mind. The cleaning between, before and after classes and that sort of thing is going to be kind of it's a lot of additional labor and time that we have to figure out, like what the protocols look like. and so that each coach knows like what the responsibilities are, and it's all hands on deck when a class ends and wiping things down. And unfortunately, it won't allow for time to stick around after class or before class in the short term. Wish it could, but in the short term, with the passing time they needed and the cleaning that we need to do between classes, it probably will not allow for a lot of that. Would we be required to wear masks in out of the gym? So no, unless the regulations say you have to wear masks. If they come out and say you have to wear masks coming in, it probably is not going to work to be open inside the facility. Like I don't know you guys, but I don't like walking through Target with a mask on, or like wherever I go. If I had to wear a mask for like 5 minutes, I don't really love it, and I don't really want to work out in it. So they're recommended, but not required. Yeah. It's personal preference on that. I don't know that, Dave, if you disagree or if something different, I feel like we've talked a lot about this stuff. I don't think masks will be required for you guys or for the coaches. Now, it'll change a little bit of coaching. Like we won't have, we talked about this with the coaches, there won't be the tactile clues, you won't be like, hey, push against my hand. When you're squatting, they push your knee out and that sort of thing. So it'll be a lot more visual and verbal cues. But I don't know that there are a ton of tactile cues, but there is benefit to those. It will change a little bit on sharing equipment. So we'll have to work to adjusting equipment and space. But that's all stuff that within the programming and working through that stuff that we're really working on addressing when we open.
Yeah, just to follow up with Shane, what he's saying is, I mean, if people still want to come in and obviously wear a mask, obviously you're more than welcome to. I mean, it's not going to be a mandatory thing unless we are mandated, especially right out of the gates to have that.
And what I'm saying, Julia's saying is recommended, but not required.
Yeah, right.
So that would,
kind of. Yeah.
Any other questions, you guys? Hopefully we added a little bit of clarity. I know that I live with a high certainty person, and the more details we can share and offer, we will. As soon as we know things, we want to share it as fast as we can, and create a level of certainty and security, so you guys know what's going on. And it's not just kind of sitting and waiting without any knowledge of what's happening. So we're working really hard. Up until now, it was not really knowing what's going to change, and now it's 2.5 weeks from the 26th. That's not that far away. We're getting excited. We're going to ramp up and really talk about what it looks like as we come back in. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you.
Yeah. So any other questions, throw them in here.
We appreciate, everyone and your patience through this whole unfortunate time that we're living in. We're trying to make the most of it. That's for sure.
Yeah. So Heather asked about a soft opening or test people for classes, as far as like, and Courtney asking about how do you keep things fair with classes. Well, here's what I would say. Like, it's like any family, and if you mean by fair, like who gets into classes, who doesn't get into classes, I think it would be like any family, it's a reflection on the available times to go. And for example, I mean, not with 100% certainty, but if it's between a coach who signs up before a member and a member going, the member gets the spot in class. If someone can go at 6 instead of 5, we would ask that you consider going at 6 if possible. If the 5 is always full, and so on and so forth. How do you keep it fair? There's no real way other than having consideration for each other and looking at when you can go and get into class. I guess that's the only thing that we can really think about as far as how do you keep that fair. Now, that being said, if we sign up, and again, in that fairness and consideration of others, if you sign up for a class and we only have 10 people in class and you're not there, we're coming to your house, hunt you down. No, yeah, you sign up for class, like make sure you can go to that class, especially when we're limited to how many people we can have in a class. That would be a fair thing to do. A soft open, potentially. Clarify, Heather, if you could, a little bit, like when you say soft open, just like have a few people in there to see how it goes from a space standpoint, or
One last thing
Yes.
going. Oh,
yeah, okay, yeah, maybe
Or on
maybe
how that, so then you can try to figure out how everything's going to work. Or are you doing that between yourselves as coaches on how
we're
all
working
that
on.
technology
You mean
works?
as far as like spacing and timing and that sort of thing? Yeah, so we're really working on like understanding the spacing and maximizing the space we can have, and you'll see us out there soon with like painter's tape, laying out boxes and that sort of thing, so we can kind of get an idea of where that would, how to best lay it out and create the space. So if we have to use the rig, how you get to the rig, what the travel paths look like, etc. Sorry, Dave, I cut you off.
no, I was just Laura actually in the chat there kind of talked about the communication thing in regards to like signing up classes too. And I mean, there'll be some format or some protocol that will come out from us in regards to how that'll look to try and make it as fair as possible for people to, I don't, like Shane said, I don't think we know exactly how that looks yet.
Right.
But there might be some format where we have to cycle a little bit.
Yeah, and like Laura said, communicating, like, hey, I could never get into this class, like communicating that, so we'll see who's on the wait. I think we can see who's on the wait list, or who's not able to get in. But like the only way we know these things, like you said, Laura, is through communication. And if there's no communication, we don't know, and we can't take action, and that goes for everybody. It's like we just all need to communicate together and with each other, and kind of work through this. My hope is that this 10-person phase is a short phase. My hope is that it's only a couple weeks, and especially in that couple weeks, we're ramping back up into, you guys are not coming in week one doing Fran, and we're not coming in week one and doing
Do it. We're gonna rock
back
Murph
squats.
out. Murph is your first workout.
Right. So
Might not move your arms for a couple weeks,
right,
but
exactly. That's one of the reasons we're doing Murph prep, is in case we can do some Murph close to Murph time, like Memorial Day. Like there's some Murph prep work in there, so you have a little volume built up. But we're not going to open up first day and go, all right, here we go. Like, I mean, I did the workout 2 days ago with the 10 thrusters and 10 pushes for 10 rounds. I'm still not walking right. Like that won't be week one. We're gonna ease back in, and we're gonna offer a lot of scaling options, and it'll be like, hey, if you haven't been as active as you would have liked to have been during this time period, like let's tame it down a little bit, and let's be smart about this so that we feel good getting back into things. And that's where personal responsibility and good coaching will come into play. Anything else, crew? All right. I don't see any more coming up here, guys. Like I said, please know that Dave and I are open. Thank you too, Julia. We're open. We want to talk with you guys. We want to hear concerns. We want to hear plans, solutions. Solutions are really helpful. That you have, that you might have, and we're open to those things, and we want to listen, and we want to communicate with you guys. And so my email is Shane@FitEliteOnline.com, and Dave's is Hilde, HILDE @FitEliteOnline.com. Just reach out to us, and you can find our phone numbers if you don't have them. However you want to get a hold of us, to reach out and touch base with us, and we're happy to communicate and offer where we can, guys.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
really good to see everyone.
Yeah, it was.
Thank
guys.
you all for joining.
Yeah, thank you guys, and we'll be seeing you guys again very soon. All right, thanks, guys.
Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.